quiet lady appeared before Eyang Broto, a painter from the Ancol market, requesting to be painted. In the midst of the night, this beautiful woman with long hair visited Eyang Broto's kiosk and implored him to capture her image on canvas. Eyang Broto diligently painted her portrait, weaving his brushstrokes to recreate her ethereal beauty. Satisfied with the completed artwork, he excused himself to use the restroom. However, upon his return, the woman had vanished without a trace. Bewildered, Eyang Broto sought out his fellow artist, Nazar, who happened to be visiting the art arena. He described the encounter to Nazar, who confirmed seeing a woman walking alone and pointed in the direction she had gone. Determined to unravel the mystery, Eyang Broto embarked on a chase, desperately pursuing the woman's figure that seemed to float in the distance. But no matter how hard he tried, just like fog, she vanished into thin air. The next day, Eyang Broto shared his extraordinary experience, causing a stir among the local newspapers. Some dismissed it as a publicity stunt, an attempt by Ambah Broto to boost his popularity. However, Eyang Broto swore an oath that what had occurred was indeed real. Before long, Eyang Broto completed the painting titled Mariam of Ancol Bridge. Deep within the folklore of Jakarta lies a tale that has captivated the imagination of its people for a generation. Simanis Jembatan Ancol, a name that echoes through the streets of Jakarta, holds a chilling origin story. Join us as we delve into the haunting truth behind Simanis Jembatan Ancol. I'm your host, Indomie Humble Servant, or V, at your service. Chapter 1. As usual, let's break it down from the name origins and history. In English, Simanis translates to the Sweet One. Meanwhile, Jembatan Ancol refers to Ancol Bridge in the north of Jakarta. There are many versions of this poor girl story. Here's one version that is the most detailed one in my opinion. According to Compass, this legend has been alive since the 19th century, during the Dutch colonial era in what was then known as Batavia. It is said that numerous accidents claimed lives on the Ancol Road, prompting the construction of a police station and a small temple nearby. It was there the tragic tale of Arya, later known as Mariam, happened. Arya, a woman filled with sorrow, lived as an orphan in Kampung Sawah, Pasaban, under the care of a wealthy landlord. When she reached the age of 16, the landlord expressed his desire to marry her. However, Arya refused, not wanting to become a mistress and waiting for her older sister to wed. Determined to escape this fate, Arya fled from her home, embarking on a fateful journey. Along her path, Arya crossed paths with Oi Tambasia, a wealthy man with a reputation for collecting young women. Enchanted by Arya's presence, he sought to possess her. Two of Oi's accomplices, Piun and Surya, were tasked with capturing Arya. Arya, however, refused to be captured. A struggle ensued, leading to her tragic demise at the hands of Piun and Surya. It was said that she was also sexually assaulted in the process. Her lifeless body was abandoned in a rice field, approximately 400 meters from the Ancol Bridge. In another version, her lifeless body wasn't found as she fell into the river. And in another version as well, she wasn't sexually assaulted as she defended herself, which led to her demise. It was from that point forward that passerby in the area claimed to witness the apparition of a beautiful young girl with long hair. These sightings often coincided with traffic accidents, creating an unsettling connection. Chapter 2. Stories of people who met Simanis Jembatan Ancol. According to the testimony of Muhammad Husni, an artist who painted Arya's portrait in 2003, she was a simple woman. Husni's depiction revealed a young lady of average beauty with tan skin standing about 160 centimeters tall. Her long hair flowed and she wore a black kabaya, Indonesian traditional dress with blue dots. Husni's painting portrayed Arya as a victim, not a malfallen spirit to be feared. Now let's go back to the story of Eyang Broto and Simanis Jembatan Ancol's likeness that he created as first introduced in the beginning of this video. At first glance, the original painting seemed ordinary, but upon a closer inspection, it possessed a captivating magnetism that drew viewers in with its intricate details and focus. When the story of his encounter with the very famous figure blew up in the media at the time, Eyang Broto, a follower of Javanese spiritual beliefs Klenik, insisted that sensationalism was never his goal. He was said to be a man of simplicity, honesty, and a deep appreciation for the art world. Despite his modest income, he found contentment and gratitude in sharing his creations with his family and the world around him. As many of you may know, Eyang Broto's whereabouts remain unknown to this day. And I quote, "My father had expressed his desire to leave the house on several occasions. However, due to his old age and my concerns for his safety, I always forbade him from doing so. But on that fateful day when I fell into a deep slumber on the living room chair, he vanished. He never returned, and there has been no news of him until now." Badar revealed with a hint of disappointment. He blamed himself for not being able to protect his father from leaving the house alone. The painting of Simanis Jembatan Ancol is Eyang Broto's enduring legacy. Numerous versions of the painting have circulated, not limited to his own brush strokes. Eyang Broto was the original artist, the one who initiated the tale, which found its way into print media such as newspaper, with Poskota being the first to write about it, as well as television stations, inspiring various creative interpretations that made their way to the big screen and ongoing soap operas. Now, 28 years later, the painting that adorns the wall of the Broto family's home will be released by the extended family. And I quote, "My father would have wanted this, even though we don't know where he is." Badar continued, his voice filled with a sense of acceptance. The remarkable painting is now being prepared for auction, both nationally and internationally. It is a bittersweet moment, as this artwork holds great sentimental value and has left an indelible mark on the entertainment world, despite debates and controversies it has generated. Additionally, the chronology derived from Eyang Broto's humble diary and shared by Badar holds historical value as it traced the origins of Simanis, a manifestation of a female warrior from the 16th century, which has been extensively developed in various versions. Art is timeless. Regardless of where this painting ends up, it will forever be remembered as a phenomenal masterpiece by the hands of Eyang Broto, the untraceable artist with a humble heart. Chapter 3. What it's like to be a woman with no agency in her life, and how Simanis can only take her revenge and turn to violence only after her death. Regardless of gender, crimes have been prevalent throughout the history of mankind. From the story of Cain and Abel, to many stories about female vengeance, to many stories of female ghosts who are seeking revenge after their death. I don't know if this term has been coined before, but I would call it post-death power. I'm seeing a trend of how women who were helpless during their lifetime can only reclaim control and agency and their narrative after they possess some kind of power or supernatural abilities that are not human-like. Throughout history, tales of female vengeance in the form of a ghost are passed from generation to generation. In the context of Indonesian urban legend, most of the stories about female vengeance are involving rejections or men trying to overpower women that led to sexual assault and eventually murder. Just because of the fragile ego of men who cannot take no as an answer, these women died or left to suffer. Love is crazy, but I believe this is not a story about love. This is a story about power and agency, things that the women didn't have. I mean, it's probably easier to R-word or murder someone else so blatantly like that, aka in a grotesque, gory one such as with a knife or other tools, and not in a quote-unquote womanly way like poisoning, when you feel like your victim is physically fragile and socially powerless. This goes back to the focus of Simanis Jembatan Ancol and its depiction in Indonesian cinema. There's the 1973 version, 1990s TV series or Sinetron version, and the recent one is 2019 version. And I will be focusing on the 2019 or the recent version. Spoiler alert. Si Manis Jembatan Ancol revolves around Mariam Indah Permatasari, who feels empty in her life and awaits happiness. Her husband, Roy Arifin Putra, has become a temperamental figure who frequently neglects her after their marriage. Roy, an entrepreneur struggling to revive his business, borrowing money from Bang Ozi Shahputra, a ruthless loan shark. He even uses Mariam and their home as collateral for debts he may not be able to repay. Meanwhile, Mariam encounters Yuda, Randi Pangalila, a painter who falls in love with her at first sight. Little does Yuda know that their meeting will bring a catastrophe that threatens both their lives. In the 90s TV series, Si Manis was depicted as the sexy figure. In this 2019 film, Mariam is depicted as a modest figure, dressed in covered red attire, before she passes away and became this a restless spirit around Ancol Bridge who murdered people who have wronged her. Plot twist though, it was revealed that Si Manis was still alive and she murdered them while acting and looking like a ghost, but she wasn't. It intrigued me at first, honestly, because finally there is a film about female ghost vengeance whose main character isn't actually a ghost and just a normal human being killing boys.
You're killing people. No, I'm killing boys. Boys are just placeholders. They come and they go.
But another plot twist, she was killed again at the end by her husband after he lured her with sweet words and apology in the final fighting scene. This actually left me with a bitter taste because all of Si Manis Jembatan Ancol's effort straight went into the trash bin just because of a few sugary words from her evil husband. From a man. I guess I'll be waiting for another version of Si Manis' story that will do her justice. Shout out to my bestie Cookie who made this beautiful artworks in the beginning of this video. I will put her social in, on the screen right here. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, comment, turn on the notification, and tell me what do you want to see next. I'm V from Indomie Humble Servant at your service. Bye.